Frozen. Let it go. Let it go. Is that Frozen? I don't know. Don't hold it anymore. Can't get. Why am I singing that? Because I have troubles. I have problems. Okay, I'm deeply, deeply troubled. I need serious help. Smile. That makes me smile. There you go. Oh, can you? Oh. What should we do? What should we do? Start with a song. Do you know Shalom Aleichem? You know it? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Buen Shabbat.
Buen Shabbat.
That's Ladino. You made it. Everyone, we made it to Shabbos. We made it to Shabbat. Well done. I invite you to take a deep breath. Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, get your chest puffed out. That's perfect, Sarah. And let it go slowly. Oh, yeah. And your shoulders sink a little bit. One more. And then we'll go light some candles. How about that? All right. Well, I think everyone should come on up to where the candles are. If you're at home, Shabbat Shalom to you, we are lighting these candles with you as well. I'm going to invite anyone who wants to come up and be close to the candles. Why not? We have been through, it's been a week, you know? Sometimes it feels like an entire month happens in a week.
Entire month.
An entire month. Doesn't it feel that way sometimes?
Yeah.
And sometimes you say, I just don't know what's going on anymore. And that's where Shabbos comes in. And so I'm going to ask Miss Wendy if she'll read the introduction. And just let it come into you. Just let Shabbat come into you.
Okay.
Is this on? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen.
Amen.
So I'm going to invite you. I found a box of matches. How do you feel about, do we trust you with fire?
Who, me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
But
about the other thing?
the thing? You want the thing?
No, I don't want that, but I mean,
That thing?
yeah, that.
What's that?
That's
That's
where you
to
put the
put the-
match.
the-
Oh, that's like a post.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Look at that.
So the candles
I've never
are-
seen anything like it.
It sits up here all the time.
I believe you. I just clearly wasn't
Never
paying
paid attention.
Yeah, that's right.
Too busy singing the prayer.
Too busy singing prayers, talking and talking and talking.
Too much talking.
Too much talking. Good God. All right, so
Oh, good shot.
shot. Okay.
Okay,
That's one.
let's see. Broke that.
Don't track him.
All
Let's
right,
put it
you know,
back in
Shabbos is
there.
25 hours, so we got plenty of time.
25
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
What?
Just watch your arms, Sarah.
Oh, be
We
careful.
don't get too burned.
Don't get burned. We don't want that. Okay. You can do it.
Well, there are 250 in there. So.
Okay, what else do we have?
Wanna try
that
the
we
other
could try?
side?
I tried the other side.
Turn the other side. Okay.
Don't get yourself on fire.
God forbid. There
Yeah.
you go.
There we go.
Maybe it's new ones that work.
Okay, so,
I
And
worked
as-
with fire.
okay.
Come on.
There's a little wax built up
got
around the
wax.
wick. There we go.
No.
So close, so close.
You need to melt the wax.
That's good. There we go. And as the lights are lit, I invite you to stretch. Yeah, even if you're wherever you are, wherever you're standing. Yeah, exactly. Imagine your head touches the ceiling and your left arm touches the left wall and the right arm touches the right wall, and you just fill this whole room. Yeah. And whatever you need from this Shabbat, whatever you need from these candles, we're going to bring it in once, twice, 3 times. And it's going to be there for you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. As we open our eyes, the room is different, even if it's a little bit different, because it's Shabbos now. So I invite you, if you want, the person next to you wants a Shabbos hug.
You're the big hugger anyway.
I love to hug,
I
but
know.
you have to get permission, consent, because some people don't want to be touched.
I know.
And you have to respect them. So you don't. Good Shabbos. All right.
Shabbos, why not?
If you're at home and you're by yourself, you just give yourself a hug. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I give the dogs hugs.
Give the dog a hug.
all the time.
Yeah. What's your dog's names?
I don't have it.
Allie and Holly.
Allie and Holly. Maybe they're hugging each other. You never know.
That's true too.
So we welcome in the Shabbat presence. Now that we've shifted a little bit, we're going to be on page 100 and 40, 140. Oh, you're so good at this. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're good at this. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to go back to page 129. 9. Dodili, top of the page. Dodili vani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Dodili vani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Mihizotola min hamidbar, mihizotola mekuteret mor ulevona, ulevona. Back to the beginning. Dodili vani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Dodili vani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Libavtini achoti kala, libavtini kala, urit safon, uvo iteman dodili vani lo haroe bashoshanim dodili vani lo haroe bashoshanim ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 do di li vani lo haroe bashoshanim do di li vani lo haroe bashoshanim. Hey, Sarah, how do you feel about reading some English? Feel good about that?
Kind of.
Kind of? Why don't you start here on the top of 131, and then if you get stuck, I'll help you.
Okay. In God's hands are the blessed,
The depths.
the depths of the earth, the peaks of the mountains are God's. God is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us below, bow down and
Kneel.
kneel,
Let's do it together. Bend the knee
bend the knee
before Adonai,
before Adonai.
our Maker. Together.
Yeah.
For Adonai is our God,
Mhm.
and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. Bottom of the page. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, umelo. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, umelo. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam umelo. Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo. Az yaranu kol hatzeyar. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz. Yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'amim b'emunato. Bottom of 135, last three lines. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. In a minute, we're going to chant together Lecha Dodi. You know Lecha Dodi, huh?
Yep.
You've heard of it. Come, my friend, Likrat Kala, to greet the bride, the Sabbath bride. We're getting married. Every week, the Jewish people get married to the Sabbath. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. And there's 9 verses. We're only going to do verses 1, 5, and 9. But I do want us to take a look at verse 3 just for a second. these were the Kabbalists, these were the mystics. They were up in Sfat in the north of Israel. They were the wackadoodles. They were weird. They were like meditating and stuff. And, you know, the people in Jerusalem, they were like a little more serious than the people up in Sfat. They didn't want really much to do with the Sfat people. That's why they had to go up north and far away. But the people in Sfat were always thinking about Jerusalem, and so that's why you see these words, verse 3, Mikdash Melech Ir Melucha, a sanctuary of the king, a royal city. Kumi tzei mitocha hafacha, like get up. We're hoping one day you'll get up from amidst the overturnedness. It's enough crying in the valley because God is compassionate to you. They're talking about Jerusalem. It does make me think a little bit about Los Angeles because it's been so rough for them. And so, different kinds of royal cities. Yeah, our hearts are with Jerusalem always, of course, but our hearts are with Los Angeles too. And anywhere where people are suffering and feel like there's no hope. Come, my friend, let's connect and feel like there's a possibility of hope. And we'll greet the face of Shabbat, because you never know what can happen when you start singing. Page 138 and 139, verses 1, 5, and 9. And we'll rise when we get to the last verse. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad hishmianu, el hamiuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad l'shem ultiferet ve'letila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat. Let's do verse 3. Let's do it. Mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzei, metochafecha harav lach shevet, be'mekabacha v'hu yachamol alayechem la. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri kiva orech, kumi ori uri, shir daberi kavod Adonai, alayek nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the back. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala gam besimcha, uvetzolatoch emune am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Yai rai rai rai, yai ra 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 rai 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 rai, yai ra 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 rai 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 rai, ra 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 rai, yai ra rai. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, da 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 da, ya da da da, ya da da da. You may be seated. You got that microphone ready? Yeah, is it on? It's working?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Because we are up to page 140, Psalm 92, specifically for Shabbat, because, Sarah, it says, Tov lahodot l'Adonai. It's good to give thanks to Adonai. And so, if it's good, we should do it. And we're going to ask people anything that they're thankful for, anything going well at the moment. And you're going to bring the microphone around. So who's got something? What's going well in your life? What are you thankful for? Oh.
Well, besides feeling a whole lot better, my eldest daughter and her husband have relocated down to the warm, sunny climes of Florida,
Okay.
and they got out of the winter up in Indianapolis,
They are now in Florida. Where in Florida?
just south of Fort Myers.
Oh, like Venice area? Naples? Well, that's great. That's much closer to you than Indianapolis, right? Yeah, good, good. Hallelujah. All right. Okay, well, that's a whole other story. We'll have to, okay. Anyone else? Something going well? You got something, Sarah?
Yeah.
Want to speak into the microphone nice and loud?
I'm glad that I got back to
There,
school.
turn that way. No, just turn to face people. Wait, not me. So they can see you.
So, something good.
Not in circles, just face people. Yeah. Stop there. Yeah. So you got to go back to school, is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm glad because I've had like 3 days of digital learning.
Oh, that is no good. Staring at a screen. Fait, as they say in France. No good. Welcome back to school. Yeah, excellent. I got to go to Germany. I'd never been there before. Right? And that was super fun. We had a great time. Some really emotional stuff there, but like good times, restaurants.
And also,
We got a Shabbat. We hung out in Shabbat in Hamburg. Which, who would think? Shabbat in Hamburg.
And also,
Oh, you've got more.
my mom was sick, and then she got better now, so
She's better.
she's better.
Hallelujah. Good. Amen to that. All right. Anyone else? Something good. Anyone online? Nobody online. All right. Anyone else in the room? Something good? Nothing? Yes. Okay. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
So I went to a miracle doctor and I feel much better.
You went to where? I'm sorry?
A miracle doctor.
A miracle doctor?
Yes.
What kind of doctor? Gastroenterology. Go figure, a Jew that needs gastroenterology. Yeah. GI work. Yeah, but it worked out. You're better. Thank God. Fantastic. All right. And I think we should sing about it. What if we sing Tzaddik Katamar, the righteous doctors and teachers among us should flourish. You know? Good. Last 8 lines, I think. 7 lines. Tzaddik Katamar Yifrach Ke'erez Balvanon Yesgeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvon Beseva Deshenim Verananim Yehu Lahagid Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. How many we got on the line there? We have one online. Wow. That's your daughter. Fantastic. From oh, I was going to start bad-mouthing Indianapolis. I'm so glad I didn't. It's go me. All right. Well, let's see. Matovu oha lecha ya kov. Did we get to 10? I think we got to 10. All right. Well, why don't we rise? What's that?
Did you count me?
I don't count you. I count you as a fantastic human being, but I don't count you in a minion just yet because you haven't reached the bat mitzvah age. That's the way this goes. I invite us to rise in body or spirit. Turn to page 146. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai Baruch et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Here in Mariv, our evening service, we start with a prayer for creation. I'm going to invite you to turn to page 149, and we read this at the top of the page together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdir ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid, yimloch aleinu le'olam vahed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'arim v'aravim. A prayer for love. Celebrating love, page 150, Avat Olam. It's going to go right into the Shema on 152. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shochvenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'orech yameinu v'orech yameinu Uvahem neged yomam v'layla. We rise in body or spirit. V'avatecha al tasu mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad. Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu harvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'vetecha v'lechtecha v'derech Uv'shochbecha, uv'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha, leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim lenahechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. You may may be seated. The emet from the Via Hafta goes right into emet on 152, truth. Emet means truth. Emes, in Yiddish. Emet ve'emunah kol zot. All of this is true, and we have faith in it. We have emunah. Let's read it together. Page 156 at the bottom. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God. We are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life, steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. So we sing the song of getting free. God makes the slaves free. Oppressed people get out of their oppression. That's what God does. We sing it all the time, Mi Chamocha, and we'll sing it tonight. Page 158. Mi Chamocha Be'elim Adonai, Mi Kamocha Nedar B'Kodesh, Nohora Tehilot, O Seifele, Malchutecha Ra'u Vanecha, Bokei Hayam Lifnei Moshe Miriam, Ze Lianu Ve'ameru, Adonai Imloch, Leolam Vahed, V'nemar, Kifar Adonai et Yaakov, Ugilo Miad Chazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who redeems Israel. We are going to pray a prayer of protection. Page 160, in just a minute, Hashkivenu. We think about those hostages finally coming home. We're supposedly having another group freed on Sunday. And we think of the people who need protection in the night, whether they're in Israel or they're in Gaza. We think about the people who may be interrupted or detained or withheld in some way in the night by forces beyond their control. I think of the people who I met in Germany who somehow made it through and still have a Jewish community there, and a beautiful Jewish community, when they needed protection in the night. Sometimes it came, sometimes it didn't. But our spirit can always be protected in some way. And so Hashkivenu, we ask that we lie down in peace and be risen up to some sort of life, and we get through whatever nighttime, whatever darkness we're going through. Let's join together. Page 160, the middle of the page. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, over Jerusalem, and God willing, over the entire world. We say amen. I'm going to invite you to rise in body or spirit as we celebrate Shabbat. And we sing the love song to Shabbat from the book of Exodus. Vishamru. You doing this Vishamru dance? That's a good dance. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. How long to make the world? How many days?
6.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. And Shabbat is which day?
7.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. So I sometimes get confused. I don't remember. Do we do the beginning of the tefillah out loud, or do we do the whole thing quietly? What do we do here? We do Adonai Savatai Tivtach, and then Baruch Atah Adonai. I know, yeah, we do that on Friday night too? Yeah, okay, good, good. I'll get this right one of these days. Okay, page 164. I work in a few different places, you know. 164, our tefillah, our amidah, our standing prayer, the centerpiece of our service. Adonai Sifatai Tivtach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Neihem, L'man Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Bezrat Sarah. 168. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Sohomech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'amanata Lachayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. 170. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Continue our Amidah privately, pages 171 to 180. Take as much time as you need. You might have the Hebrew, you might use the English. You might just enjoy some peace and quiet for a few seconds in this very noisy world. You let us know that you've gotten to the end of your Amidah by being seated. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. 179, the Hebrew in the middle. Lo yisa goy hel goy cherev, lo yilmedu hod milchama. Lo yisa goy hel goy cherev, lo yilmedu hod milchama. Lo yisa goy hel goy cherev, lo yilmedu hod milchama. Lo yisa goy hel goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Words from the prophet Isaiah. And I have a bone to pick with the translation there on 179. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev. Nation shall not take up sword, lift up sword against nation. Lo yilmedu. Yilmedu is to study, like Talmud. Not that they shouldn't know war, that they shouldn't even study war. This is a prophetic vision, that we're so far from war that we don't even study it anymore. Ken Yehiratzon should be God's will, that we can get there. In the meantime, we can bring some blessing into this world by praying for healing for people, whether they need it for body, for mind, for spirit. Page 371, you're going to find the Mishabera prayer. I talk about this every time, but I think it's worth repeating every time. Cures, not always possible, for whatever reason, but there is always some kind of healing that's possible, whether it's healing between people or within a person or with a person and God. That's always available to us. And so we're going to chant the first verse. This is in the middle of 371. First verse of the Debbie Friedman Mishabera. And then we're going to pause, and then Miss Sarah will be bringing the microphone around to bring any names that you have out into the world for healing. Because, wow, our prayers really matter. It really makes a difference. 371. Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Go.
Linda Ehrensaft, Joe Wagner, Sherry Silver, Barbara Frank, Lois Sorkin, Uvana Thomas, Samani Ehrensaft.
Morris and Felice Friedman, Katie Adler, Linda and Steve Ely, Jerry and Linda Jacobson, Lawana Bachler, Wilda Fink, Barbara Freed, Jean Blankenship, Kenny Woodruff, Bobby Ginsburg, people in the Ukraine and Palestine, the hostages in Israel, and all the people who have been touched by the fires in California.
Barry Nicholsper, Ezekiel Paradis, Jonathan Paradis, and Dane Dean.
Anybody here? No? Aaron? Rachel Bat Rivka, Sarah Bat Rachel, Noach Ben Luba, Shelley Kleiner, Barry Lyman, Lily Byron, Gabriella Bat Gloria, Avram Eli Ben Ita, Jessica Humenick, Mordechai Tzvi Ben Sarah, Shoshana, Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal Ata Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of the sick.
We,
Say amen.
just to throw in a couple late names for
Oh,
Misha
I'm so
Bayrock.
sorry. People on Zoom, online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just really quick. Tanya Hurst, Diana Berger, Alexia Melson, Holly Helbeen, and Shelley Perkel, and Catherine Stankoff.
Thank you so much, Brittany, and please accept my apologies if you're online. As we say, Baruch Atah Adonai, Rafeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of the sick. All the names that we mentioned are held close in this community. We say amen. I had a feeling that there were people watching what was happening and wondering, was anyone going to say anything? These are the words of Bishop Marion E. Booty, leader of the Episcopal Diocese of Washington. Was anyone going to say anything about the turn the country's taking? You may have heard about the bishop's sermon this week, and that she addressed the president in her sermon that she delivered in a national service. She pleaded with him to show compassion to trans folks, to immigrants, the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, she listed. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. You may have heard the president was not pleased by her words. I am not going to quote him here. If you would like, you can look it up, his response. These days are giving lots of us deja vu. I am no exception. Back during the president's first term, I had a pulpit up in Massachusetts. I was blessed to be connected to a number of brave clergy folks, Jewish and not, rabbis and cantors, and imams and pastors. Clergy a lot like Bishop Booty. Her words reminded me of a Sunday night back in 2018. I got an urgent email from one of these networks that I was a part of, asking for religious folks to show up at the ICE office in Burlington, Massachusetts, that great metropolis, in solidarity with a man named Jacob. He was from the Caribbean island country of St. Lucia and was in danger of being deported after almost 20 years of living in the United States. So I got up early on Monday. I grabbed my tallis, because you have to look the part if you're going to show up as a rabbi. And I went. And what I saw that frigid Massachusetts Monday was hard to process. I sat in a nondescript office in a soulless industrial park with Jacob, a kind, law-abiding, and hardworking man, his two beautiful sons, waiting to see what ICE would do. And I will tell you, even though it wasn't me whose life was on the line, the experience was awful. The ICE office in Burlington is the epitome of what Hannah Arendt called the banality of evil. Soulless bureaucracy, functionaries surrounded by shelf after shelf of overflowing file folders, making life and death decisions. Jacob worked in construction, the most basic of levels. He dug up rocks in a quarry. Rocks used to create the pavement that we all drive on. When I think of this week's Parsha, where it says that the Israelites did Sivlot Mitzrayim, the hard labor of Egypt, I think of the kind of work Jacob did. Jacob was there with his pastor, and as I mentioned, his two children, boys, a second grader and a third grader at the time, regular American kids. One was wearing a Justice League hat. The other was wearing a Star Wars hat. And the one with the Star Wars hat was listening to music on his smartphone. His name is Jediah, from the Hebrew, it turns out, by coincidence perhaps, Yediyah, which means God knows. I asked Jediah what he was listening to, and he took out his earbuds and smiled not at me, but at Jacob. Caribbean gospel came pouring out of these tiny little speakers, and I worried for Jediah's tiny little eardrums. You know what it is, Dad. It's your favorite song. The sweet moment faded. We waited there for hours. There were hundreds of people. Jacob told me his story, how he entered the immigration system because as a black man in New Hampshire, he had been racially profiled. Doesn't just happen south of the Mason-Dixon line, of course. Profiled for a crime that he did not commit. He was exonerated, but once arrested, New Hampshire authorities reported him to ICE, and so here we were. He also told me that for him, deportation was simply not an option. No one can take care of my sons like I can. And he continued to talk to me, further telling me how numerous lawyers had failed him in the past. In keeping with that track record of failure, Jacob's lawyer at the time, hired by his employer, acknowledged that he had no immigration experience. I texted my friend, Matt Cameron, while we waited. Matt is an immigration lawyer who I met at a number of pro-immigrant rallies. By chance, it turned out Matt was in the same office in Burlington with another client. And so he came over to us, and he gave Jacob's lawyer advice, Immigration 101, while Jacob and his kids sat there. While Matt is obviously a mensch for doing that, it didn't exactly inspire confidence in any of us. By the end of hour 2, Jediah was in tears. As we sat together, a news alert appeared on my phone saying that the government was ending temporary protected status for 200,000 Salvadorans. 2 days later, we would hear of mass immigration raids at 7-Eleven stores across the country. And the next day, the president would scrap a bipartisan immigration deal and utter his now infamous statement about African and Caribbean nations being, you'll forgive me, shithole countries. After another hour of waiting, Jacob's name was called. They didn't even bring him and the lawyer into the office. The ICE agent peeked his head out through a door in front of the waiting room. Under Armour polo shirt revealing a sleeve tattoo, ICE badge on his hip, gun in his holster, he told Jacob he was being deported to St. Lucia on February 5th. He seemed kind of happy to say it, though maybe that was his way of protecting his soul from the awful words that were coming out of his mouth. Jacob protested. He had 2 kids. There they were. The ICE agent said, this administration is prioritizing removal. Everybody's got circumstances. Everybody's got kids. They used to take that into consideration. Those days are over. The door closed, and he was gone. And by this time, it wasn't just Jediah that was in tears. Matt, the lawyer, was eavesdropping, as obviously I was too. He said that this was actually nicer than some of the things he's heard in these hearings. I would ask him later what we should do. He said, there is no question that your presence makes a difference. Just keep doing this. Be a witness. Let them know you're watching. He wrote me a message later in the week. It's too easy for even the most humane and empathetic practitioners to lose perspective as the water slowly heats to boiling around us. And these accounts from thoughtful outsiders coming in from the cold are so important. He continued, I've had many hours in Burlington to consider the operating psychology of ICE's ground forces, where this country might be going if Trump is able to meet his goal of tripling deportation. There is a certain kind of person, he said, who is perfectly content to do injustice in the name of the supposed rule of law. It comes from the top. It's out of my hands. He concluded that fascism is only a theory without those people. Parsha this week, like I said, is about liberation of the Israelites from bondage. It only happens, this liberation of our people, as God says, Ani shamati, I have heard the moaning of the Israelites. We've heard the moaning of young boys threatened with the loss of their parents, young boys like Jediah. God knows. Was anyone going to say anything? Our questions, do we hear the cries of these children? And are any of us going to say anything? I'm going to invite you to rise in body or spirit as we turn to page 586. Aleinu, it's upon us to do the work of praising God in this world. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. On 591 at the top of the page, please join me. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. May we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas. And light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. You may be seated. I was supposed to invite you up to open the ark, wasn't I? I forgot. Do you forgive me? Okay, we'll get them next time, all right? All right. Because right now we're going to turn our thoughts to people who used to be with us physically in the world, but who have died and now are with us in memory or in the lessons that they taught us. I know that we are thinking in particular. Do you want to say a word or two about Dad? Or are you? Yeah. Oh, look, you've got a piece of paper. So when we, Sarah, why don't you, just hand off the microphone.
Well, I just wanted to say that we're blessed to have a very close family, and my entire life I've been close with my dad, including the time when I moved to Georgia before my parents followed me here. Mentor, my friend, opponent sometimes. Never to blows, always talk it out until eventually I'd see the wrong of my ways to come around. And even to this point, he always shared his knowledge and compassion with other people through his experiences with working in factories and electronics. So I learned always for helping others, including our own family. And when things were difficult, we became our own island and worked that way. So, and even to his last times at the care home, where we always shared, he liked me discussing his conditions. He may not have followed it, but he was happy that I was helping him out. And always, this to the last times, he'd be listening and smiling, like, yes, that's my son, he's helping me. So that's my memories for my dad. So.
And I apologize. I just coming back from the trip, I didn't catch Dad's name. Albert. Albert Miller. And so we're going to say Kaddish for Albert. In addition, are there any other?
Paul Foster.
Paul Foster.
Paul Foster's my girlfriend's brother.
My father, Charles Frank.
Any other names? Invite the mourners among us to rise. In addition, if it's your custom to rise with them in memory of those who die every day of hate, of hunger, poverty, abuse, neglect, improper health care, those killed Al Kadush Hashem for the sanctification of God's name amongst the Jewish people, I invite you to do so. Page 598, Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma Divra Kirute, Bi'amlich Malchute, B'chayechon Uvyomechon, Uvachaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala Uvizman Kariv, Bi'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivarach, Leolam Ulalmei Almaya, Yit Barach, V'yishtabah, Yit Pa'ar, V'yit Ramam, V'yit Naseh, V'yit Hadar, V'yit Aleh, V'yit Halal, Shemei Dekudasha, Barichu, Le'ela Min Kol, Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata, Damiran Be'alma, V'yimru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yishvei Tevel V'yimru Amen. Zecher Tzadik Livracha from Proverbs 10:7, the memory of our righteous ones is always for a blessing. We say amen. You may be seated. Do we have any announcements, holy business of the community? The woman in the green gloves.
Sunday
Fundraising what?
committee, Sunday,
What time?
2 o'clock, I
2
believe.
o'clock. All right.
And that should be on your emails or something like that.
Something like that.
The email or the newsletter or whatever.
Whatever they call it. Great. Thank you.
I don't know if anything else is going on. Is Sunday school starting again?
Yeah, so I know so tomorrow morning we have Shabbat services at 11, and then Shabbat lunch and Torah study with me at 12:30. Religious school is on Sunday, and then by popular demand, a course in Jewish values that we are going to start at 11:45 Sunday. I'm going to pick up some lunch for everybody. Yeah? You pro that, Sarah? What should I get? You don't know? All right. Pheasant under glass. No, that's probably not kosher. So 11:45 we'll start gathering, and then noon we'll jump in. You keep your lunch going. Words that make the world, Jewish values and ethics in a tumultuous time. So I'll be doing 3 sessions of that, but the first one is this Sunday. Free lunch. What could be bad? And after that, I don't know anything else. Backpack Buddies is on Thursdays, right? Something like that? Nobody knows. Anyway, anything from the back? Well, we want to thank Brittany for doing a lot of setup this evening and for running the tech in the back. Is there an oneg? Is there food somewhere? I don't know. If there's an oneg, it was sponsored by the synagogue. And if there's not, don't worry about it. It's still sponsored by the not oneg is sponsored by the synagogue. I would thank our police officer. I don't know his name, but we saw him. And so if you see him when you go out, say thanks. Everyone online, thanks for helping us make a minyan. And we're going to finish with, what should we finish with, Sarah? What do you think? You don't know? Oh, no. I need help here. How about a Don Olam? Where is it? I've lost everything. Oh my goodness. Shema and its blessings. I'm in the wrong place. 321. 321. No, that's not in this book. Uh-oh. There's Elenu. There's Kaddish. I've lost everything. Oh, I apologize for this. 625. Is that what you said, Brittany? You're so close. Adon Olam, page 625. Adon Olam asher malach v'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado imloch nora Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh betifara, vehu yeh betifara, vehu echad ve'ein sheni, laham shelo lehachbira, beli reshit, beli tachlit, velo haoz vehamisra, velo haoz vehamisra, Vehu Eli, v'chai goeli, v'tzor chavli, be'et Sarah, vehu nisi umanos li, menat kosi beyom ekra, menat kosi beyom ekra, biyado avkid ruchi, be'et ishan ve'ahira, ve'im ruchi, Geviati Adonai li velo ira Adonai li velo ira. And thanks to Sarah for helping us with services. Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach.